Everyone's chasing the hustle today. Side gigs, passive income, viral fame. But what if I told you? People have been chasing the exact same dream for thousands of years. In ancient Rome, Marcus Crassus let houses burn until their owners sold them cheap. He rebuilt, rented them out, and became one of history's richest men. On the Silk Road, merchants risked deserts and bandits to carry spices worth more than gold. One caravan could make, or break, a fortune. In Egypt, miners crawled into pitch-black tunnels, searching for veins of gold. One strike could turn a slave into a legend, or bury him forever. And in the arena, gladiators fought for survival and fame. Some made so much money from endorsements they became the first influencers of history. These weren't kings or emperors, they were hustlers, just like us. Over the next hour, we'll count down 10 ancient side hustles that actually made people rich, and reveal how the same hustles still shape our world today. Before we dive in, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss the stories the history books forgot. Smash that like button if you're ready to explore the side hustles of the past, and share this with someone who loves a good story. Welcome to Listory Lane, where every list tells a story. Number 10. Gladiators, Rome's celebrity side hustlers. Rome's gladiators weren't just fighters, they were superstars. The Colosseum was the world's biggest stage, and its champions became icons. Take Flamma, a Syrian-born gladiator. He fought 34 times, won 21 battles, and was offered freedom 4 times. He refused. Why? Because his fame brought wealth. Gladiators made side income in surprising ways. They endorsed products with graffiti ads painted on Roman walls. They attended banquets for pay, like modern celebrities at private events. Their likeness appeared on oil flasks and children's toys, creating the first sports merchandise. Some gladiators even became sex symbols. Women paid for locks of their hair or drops of their sweat, believed to bring luck or love. But the hustle had a dark side. The life expectancy of gladiators was low, and the price of fame was often death. Yet for a lucky few, the arena was a ticket to fortune. Number 9. Scribes, freelancers of the Middle Ages. In a world without printing presses, books were rare treasures. Every single one had to be copied by hand, and that created a side hustle: scribes. Scribes worked for churches, kings, and wealthy merchants. A skilled scribe wasn't just a copyist, they were artists. Illuminated manuscripts glowed with gold leaf, bright colors, and intricate designs. In 14th century Paris, a Bible could cost as much as a townhouse, and a talented scribe could support an entire family with one commission. Scribes weren't limited to books. They worked as notaries, writing legal contracts and business deals. They were paid to keep secrets, record wars, and even ghostwrite letters for nobles. Some became legends, like Jean Milot, a scribe for the Duke of Burgundy, who combined art, storytelling, and politics into manuscripts that still survive today. Their side hustle didn't just earn money, it preserved history itself. Without scribes, we'd have no Aristotle, no Homer, no medieval chronicles. Number 8. Spice traders, fortune in a sack. Spices were the Bitcoin of the Middle Ages. Small, portable, and unbelievably valuable. Pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves traveled thousands of miles along the Silk Road and across the seas. A sack of pepper bought in India could sell in Venice for 100 times the price. The Polo family of Venice became rich from these ventures. Marco Polo's travels brought back stories of wealth, but the real fortune was in the spices they carried. But the hustle was perilous. Merchants faced deserts with no water, pirates lurking on seas, and rival traders eager to steal cargo. Wars were fought over spice routes. Entire empires rose and fell on the trade. For those who succeeded, spice trading was the ultimate multiplier. A handful of nutmeg could build a palace. Number 7. Venetian glassmakers, the luxury monopolists. On Murano Island near Venice, fire and sand created fortunes. Glassmakers developed techniques no one else in Europe could match. By the 15th century, Angelo Barovier perfected Cristallo, the world's clearest glass. It became so valuable that nobles across Europe fought to own Murano chandeliers, goblets, and mirrors. Venice protected this monopoly fiercely. Glassmakers were forbidden to leave the island, under penalty of death. Families lived like royalty, intermarrying with nobles, passing down secrets through generations. The hustle wasn't just craftsmanship, it was innovation, secrecy, and branding. Murano glass became the Gucci or Rolex of its time. Number 6. Gold prospectors, rivers of fortune. Gold fever didn't start in California, it began thousands of years ago. In ancient Lydia, the Pactolus River carried gold dust washed down from Mount Tmolus. People lined its banks with sieves, collecting nuggets. From this river, the world's first coins were minted around 600 BC. King Croesus, the man behind them, became so wealthy his name is still a synonym for riches. But Lydia wasn't the only gold rush. In pharaonic Egypt, miners tunneled deep into the eastern desert. They carried torches into cramped shafts, hammering at rock, hoping for golden veins. The work was so brutal that many miners were slaves or convicts. Rome industrialized the hustle. In Spain, they used a technique called ruina montium, flooding entire mountainsides with water to wash out gold. It scarred landscapes forever, but yielded tons of treasure for Roman coffers. And not all prospectors worked for kings. Small-time diggers could strike it rich overnight, turning from farmers into nobles in a single season. But the risks were huge: mine collapses, toxic mercury fumes, and bandits eager to steal. Gold was humanity's first lottery. Few won, but those who did became legends. Number 5. Minstrels and performers, medieval gig workers. Long before TikTok, entertainment was live. Traveling minstrels and street performers turned art into income. In villages, they sang ballads of knights and kings, spreading news as much as music. People tossed coins into hats, the medieval version of likes and shares. But the most talented found patrons. Tannhauser, a 13th century German poet and singer, became so famous he performed in royal courts. Noble families rewarded him with gold, fine clothes, and protection. There were also jugglers, fire breathers, and jesters. Some even told bawdy jokes at weddings, earning tips from laughter. Yet the hustle wasn't easy. Many performers lived in poverty, moving from town to town, facing suspicion from the church. Minstrels were often accused of spreading gossip, heresy, or even witchcraft. But for those who thrived, the rewards were sweet. Some entertainers became trusted advisors to kings, like Will Sommers, jester to King Henry VIII, who enjoyed lifelong protection and influence. Minstrels weren't just performers. They were influencers, news anchors, and comedians rolled into one, proving the gig economy is older than we think. Number 4. Apothecaries and potion sellers, selling hope. In every era, people paid for health and hope. Apothecaries were the original pharmacists, mixing herbs, perfumes, and potions. Quick reminder: if you're enjoying these stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Listory Lane for more untold history. Your support helps us bring more amazing stories to life. The great Persian scholar Avicenna turned medicine into power. His canon of medicine guided healing for 600 years, copied and sold across continents. His reputation made him wealthy, respected, and immortal in history. But not every apothecary was a genius. Many were hustlers. In Renaissance Europe, shops sold powders made of crushed emeralds as medicine or mummy powder, ground-up Egyptian mummies, believed to cure illness. Customers paid fortunes for these bizarre remedies. Perfumes, too, were big business. In plague-stricken cities, apothecaries sold pomanders, scented balls of herbs believed to ward off disease. They didn't work, but desperate people bought them in droves. And then there were love potions. From Spain to India, sellers promised drinks that guaranteed romance. Some even laced them with dangerous herbs, creating side hustles that were part science, part scam. The apothecaries' shelves were stocked with both cures and cons. And for centuries, people kept buying, proving that selling hope can be more profitable than selling truth. Number 3. Sailors and smugglers, risk for reward. Sailors were the backbone of trade, but their wages were pitiful. So many turned to smuggling as a side hustle. In the 1500s, English sailors secretly hauled Spanish silver, Caribbean rum, and stolen silks. They hid contraband under barrels of fish or grain. If caught, punishment was death. But if they succeeded, the profit was life-changing. Some smugglers became legends. Francis Drake, before becoming a knight, was essentially a pirate, attacking Spanish ships, selling stolen treasure, and splitting the profits. His side hustle grew so big it turned into state-sponsored piracy. Even ordinary sailors joined the game. A smuggled barrel of rum could earn more than a year's pay. Some captains looked the other way, as long as they got a cut. Smuggling wasn't just greed. It was survival. And for the bold, it transformed poor sailors into rich merchants. It was the ultimate high-risk, high-reward hustle. Number 2. Artisans and craftsmen, wealth and skill. Not all side hustles involved danger or travel. Some built fortunes with their hands. Artisans, potters, jewelers, painters, blacksmiths, and silk weavers, turned raw materials into status symbols. In ancient Greece, Exekius was more than a potter. He was a storyteller. His vases weren't just containers. They were works of art, painted with epic tales of Achilles, Ajax, and the gods. Wealthy families competed to own his pieces. A single amphora could cost more than a farm. In Egypt, jewelers shaped gold into necklaces, scarabs, and amulets for queens. Tutankhamun's burial mask, crafted in solid gold and lapis lazuli, wasn't just treasure. It was proof of the craftsman's godlike skill, passed down for generations. Meanwhile, in China, silk weavers created fabric so valuable it became currency. Only nobles could wear certain colors, like the imperial yellow. Smuggling silkworms out of China was punishable by death, because the empire knew silk was its most powerful trade weapon. In medieval Europe, guilds turned artisans into a powerful class. Guilds of carpenters, blacksmiths, and masons controlled prices, quality, and training. Becoming a master craftsman was like earning a degree and opening a business in one. And then there were the luxury artisans. In Renaissance Florence, the Medici family patronized goldsmiths, painters, and sculptors. A single commission from Lorenzo de' Medici could make a craftsman rich overnight. Think of Botticelli, whose paintings were more than art. They were investments in prestige. Even in later centuries, craftsmanship remained the ultimate hustle. Peter Carl Fabergé in Russia crafted jeweled eggs for the czars. Each one contained intricate surprises, tiny golden birds, miniature clocks, and cost the equivalent of millions today. Artisans didn't just sell products, they sold beauty, identity, and immortality, and the wealth they created still shines today, in museums, palaces, and private collections worth billions. Number 1. Landlords, passive income forever. And finally, the side hustle that never died, landlording. In ancient Rome, Marcus Licinius Crassus rose from obscurity to become one of the richest men in history. His secret? Real estate. Whenever a fire broke out in Rome, which happened often, Crassus would appear with his private fire brigade. But they wouldn't lift a finger until the desperate owner sold their burning property for a fraction of its worth. Then Crassus rebuilt it cheaply, rented it out, and pocketed the profits. He grew so wealthy he bankrolled Julius Caesar's early career, joining Caesar and Pompey in the First Triumvirate, the group that ruled Rome. His fortune gave him political power few men could rival. But Crassus wasn't the only landlord hustling. Across Rome, wealthy citizens bought insulae, huge apartment blocks. Tenants crammed into tiny rooms, often unsafe, while landlords collected rent. Fires and collapses were common, but for owners, the profits rolled in. In medieval Europe, land was everything. Nobles leased plots to peasants in exchange for grain, livestock, or labor. The richer the harvest, the richer the landlord. Some grew so powerful they built private castles and even armies, becoming mini-kings in their regions. The pattern repeated everywhere. In Japan, feudal lords grew wealthy through rice taxes on peasants. In India, zamindars collected land revenue for the Mughal emperors, keeping a cut for themselves. Across continents, land ownership meant stability, power, and wealth. And the hustle hasn't changed. In Victorian England, landlords like the Duke of Westminster built fortunes renting homes in London. His descendants still control billions in property today. From Rome to London to New York, real estate is the side hustle that became a dynasty. No battles, no mines, no ships, just rent, collected month after month. 2,000 years later, the formula is still the same. And for some, it remains the surest way to become rich and stay rich. So there you have it. 10 ancient side hustles that built fortunes, shaped empires, and turned ordinary people into legends. From rivers sparkling with gold, to artisans crafting treasures, to landlords collecting rent for centuries, one truth echoes through history: the hustle never ends. The tools may have changed, swords for smartphones, camels for cars, scrolls for screens, but the hunger is the same: to survive, to thrive, to leave something behind. The gladiators had their crowds, the merchants had their customers, and now, creators like me have you. So if you enjoyed this journey, help me keep bringing history to life. Hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this story was worth sharing. Subscribe to Listory Lane, because there are hundreds more untold stories waiting for you. And share this video with a friend who loves history, travel, or just a good hustle story. Together, we can make sure the forgotten side hustles of the past inspire the side hustles of the future. This is Listory Lane, where every list tells a story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure.